Most no spend challenges fail by day four. Day four, and not because you are weak or because you have no willpower, because the challenge was quietly built to break you. You probably tried one. You announced it with big energy, no spending for 30 whole days. And for about 3 days, you are a monk. Then a hard day hits, you crack, you buy the one thing, and you decide the whole challenge is already blown. So you might as well spend the rest of the month too. Sounds familiar? That is not a discipline problem. That is a rule problem. I do no spend stretches all the time now, and I actually finish them because I follow a set of rules that make them survivable instead of miserable. I used to do these completely wrong. I will show you the exact night it blew up in my face and exactly why it was never your fault, then every single rule. First, let me tell you how I used to do a no spend so you can stop doing it the same way I did. I used to treat a no spend like a punishment, like penance. I'd spend too much. I felt like a bad woman with money. So I'd throw myself into a brutal 30 days of nothing as a way to atone for it, to prove that I could suffer. And here is what always happened: I'd white knuckle it and hating every single day, feeling deprived and ashamed at the exact same time. And then somewhere around day 10, I'd break. And the break was very small. It was a binge because I had been starving myself. So the second I cracked, I made up for every hard day all at once. So I'd finish the no spend having spent more than if I'd never started and feeling like a failure on top of it. Punishment, crack, binge, shame, the same exact cycle as every crash diet anybody has ever tried. I can still picture one of them, day 12. I think I cracked on day 12. And I didn't just buy one thing, I ordered the takeout, and then I added two pairs of shoes I didn't need, and then a whole cart of stuff at Target. That was a long time ago. And I did it all in one night, almost angry about it, like I was getting revenge on the challenge. And the next morning, I felt that familiar sick feeling. And I told myself, okay, one more time. One more time. See, you're just bad with money, Webley. I wasn't. I was starving, and starving people binge. The problem was never me. The problem was that I was using the no spend as a whip. You cannot whip yourself into a better relationship with money. It does not work. It has never worked for anyone ever. So let me tell you what a no spend is actually for when you do it right, because it is not punishment. It is not about proving that you can suffer. A no spend is a clarity tool. That is the whole. For a set stretch of time, you pause all the non essential spending, not to punish yourself, but to see clearly, to find out what you actually reach for and when and why, to find out what you genuinely miss and what you never think about again. Most of our spending is invisible to us, it's automatic. A no spend turns the automatic off for a minute so you can finally see the machine that is running underneath it all. So, done that way, a no spend is not deprivation, it's information. And honestly, the money you save is the smallest prize because the real prize is what you learn about yourself. So, here are the rules that make it actually work. And if you are tired of money advice that treats you like you just need to try harder and suffer more, you are in the right place. So, subscribe. We do this without the shame here. Now, fair warning, one of these rules is going to sound like cheating. It is the one that makes the whole thing actually work, but it only holds if the first two are already in place. So let me give them to you in order. Rule number one: decide what counts as essential before you start, and do it in writing on a very calm day. Because most no spends fall apart in an argument with yourself in aisle five. Is this allowed? You said, is that cheating? You stand there, you're negotiating with yourself, and you're going to lose that battle. And you will always lose that battle in aisle five. So Take it off the table ahead of time. Sit down and then decide what is essential. You know, your gas, your bills, your medicine. That's essential. But take out, coffee out, little treats, that you hit a pause on them. Because when it's decided in advance, in writing, there is no negotiation in the moment. You already made the call when you were calm and clear. In the store, you just follow the woman who was thinking straight. And get specific about the gray areas right now before they trip you also. Is the coffee with a friend a social thing or a spend? Is replacing the broken thing essential, or can it wait 2 weeks? So the version of you that is standing in the aisle doesn't get a lawyer on her way out of it. Decide those edge cases in advance on paper so that the version of you standing in the aisle doesn't get to lawyer her way out of it. She is very persuasive. Do not give her the floor. All right. Rule number 2, pick a length that you can actually finish. And the first time, please go short. Everybody wants to do a 30-day no spend right off the gate. And then they fail on day 6 and decide that they're hopeless. Do not do that to yourself. Start with a week, 7 days, win that. Then maybe 2 weeks, because winning a short one, it teaches your body that you can do this. Failing a long one just teaches you that you cannot. We are collecting wins here, not proving a point to anybody. All right? Because a finished 7-day no spend, it beats a failed 30-day every single time. No doubt. So short and finished is the whole game when you are first starting out. Rule number 3, and here it is, the one that sounds like cheating. Allow yourself exactly one lifeline, and it's pre-decided. This is the rule that separates the no spend that work from the ones that blow up. A total no exception ban, it will break, because total bans always break. So you build in one small planned exception on purpose before you ever start. Maybe it's your Friday coffee and only that. Maybe it's one dinner out that's already on the calendar. One lifeline decided in advance that you do not have to feel one bit of guilt about. Because here's what the lifeline does. It takes the pressure off. When you know you have one allowed yes, you stop white-knuckling and you stop hunting for reasons to rebel. The small planned yes is what protects all the no. Okay, rule number 4, do not stockpile white before you start. I see this one constantly. People announce a no spend, and then the day before it begins, they go on a giant shopping run, filling the cart, stocking up, buying everything they think they'll possibly want for the next month. This is not a no spend. This is just moving the spending to the day before and lying to yourself about it. You did not save anything. You front loaded it and you called it discipline. So start where you are with what is already in your house. The whole point is to find out what you actually need versus what you just habitually buy. And you cannot learn that if you panic buy a month of wants the night before, right? Rule number 5, keep a want list. This is what the real gold is. Every time during the no spend that you go to buy something and then you stop yourself, you write it down, just the thing. In the day, I wanted takeout on Tuesday. I almost bought a new top on Thursday. Don't buy it. Just write it down. You're building a list of every want that came up and exactly when it came up. Because here's what that list will show you. Most of the things that you wrote down, you will completely forget that you ever wanted them. The craving passed and never came back. And a few of them you still want at the very end. Those are the real ones. The want list separates your true yeses from the noise that your tired brain throws at you all day long. Let me tell you about a real one of my own list. A no spend that I wrote down, I absolutely needed a new set of sheets. and I underlined it. I was sure by the end of the 2 weeks, I read it back and genuinely laughed because I could not for the life of me remember why I wanted them because I had two sets that I didn't even open yet. So why buy other ones? So I wanted that by Tuesday night, but I completely forgot about it, but it was on the list. All right. Rule number 6, and this is the one that nobody talks about: end it right. Do not binge to make up for it. The danger zone of any no spend is the day after you finished. You're proud, and your brain says, okay, we did it. Now let's reward ourselves. And suddenly you're unfolding the whole thing in a single weekend. So on the last day, you do not celebrate by spending. You celebrate by reviewing your want list. You look at everything that you wrote down, and then you notice how much of it you never actually missed. That is the prize. That is the woman that you came here to meet. And the few things you still want at the end, now you buy those on purpose, calmly from your real money, not in a rebound binge. You do that on purpose because they passed the test. Here's the truth underneath all 6 rules. For most of my life, I thought that being good with money, it meant being able to suffer, to go without, to prove over and over again that I could deny myself anything at all. I treated every no spend like a courtroom where I was on trial for just being human. But you know what? Suffering was never the skill, clarity was. The day that I stopped using no spends to punish myself and started using them to actually see myself, everything changed. I stopped white-knuckling. I started finishing them. And I learned more about my own money in one honest week than in years of beating myself up. And the strangest part is what happened to my spending afterward. When I stopped treating money like a moral test, I kept failing. I stopped needing to binge. The whole cycle of punish and rebel engine, it just went quiet. Turns out that I was never out of control. I was just exhausted from being at war with myself over every single dollar. So, if you've been treating every money challenge like a punishment you have to survive, please hear me. You are not on trial. You never were. You do not have to suffer to be good with money. You just have to be willing to look. And looking, you can absolutely do without hating yourself for what you find. So those are the rules. Decide your essentials in advance. Pick a length that you can finish. Allow one lifeline. Don't stockpile first. Keep a want list and end without a binge. And notice that not one of those rules not one of them was suffer more. Not one was prove that you're good enough. Every rule was about making this gentle enough that you actually finish it, and honest enough that you actually learn something. That is the whole difference between a no spend that changes you and one that just beats you up. So start this week, just 7 days. Write your to list tonight before you start and pick one lifeline and then get going. Then come back and tell me the most surprising thing on your want list, the thing that you were so sure that you needed and then completely forgot about. I want to hear it. Those are my favorite. Listen, you do not need permission to start over, and you do not need to suffer to go there. All right. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Webley, and remember to subscribe because I will see you in the next one.